what we got here on the bench today is my Gspeed cheetah build. If you guys have seen my previous video, this is actually from my previous build but with a lot of changes. So basically I have 90% new stuff on this rig right here. I changed the axles, the shocks, links, wheels, tires. I'm not sure if I used these tires on the previous video, but if you guys have seen my previous video, you guys would know that this is a completely new build for my own personal cheetah Gspeed V3 build. So let's get the body off and we'll show you guys what's inside. So the body shell is the Team C Samurai body, and it is custom painted by me with Tamiya gunmetal, black and fluorescent yellow. So as you can see, I did a custom grill here, drew it myself. Stickers are cut from KH stickers, and I cut this little window holes to make it look like something similar to the real 1/1 scale world competition rigs. So let's get the body off. So basically the chassis is the Gspeed V3 carbon fiber chassis rails with the Delrin skid plate. This chassis is from my previous build, so everything is considered new. The transmission I'm using is the China SAX10 3-gear style transmission. Actually, I changed the slipper clutch to the Vanquish slipper eliminator using a 32 pitch spur gear that is 56 tooth by 15 tooth pinion. And for the axles, I'm using Capra axles, front and rear, and I have a four-wheel steering setup. For the axles, I'm using the Year Racing brass knuckles, and I have the TGH, sorry about that, I have the TGH 24% overdrive gear. And for the shocks, I'm using the Traxxas big bore shocks. Okay, let me get this camera. So I'm just gonna hold my camera here real quick. So I have this custom Traxxas 2660 big bore shocks. I'm using the lossy mini T springs. For the front is the soft springs and the rear are the firm. So the front is pink and the rear is orange, and I'm using the deluxe fab no preload shock cups. And for the rear, I'm using the deluxe shock caps. And for the front, I'm using the original shock caps because the rear are too short. If I'm using the original shock caps, it sits as low as this, so there's not much of a free play here. So I changed the shock caps to this one, so it makes the shocks longer, so it sits higher now, so I have more play on the rear. For the front, I don't need much, so I'm just using the original shock caps because previously I set up my front rig with the pen spring mod and the rear doesn't have any. But for the Traxxas big bores 2660 models, I'm not using the pen spring mod this time because it is 84 millimeter in length for the front, but I think for the rear it's about a few millimeters longer, but I didn't measure it. So for the links, I'm using hardcore RC links. Okay, I'm using the titanium ones, high clearance, 4-link setup. The front steering is the steering link is also titanium, and also the rear steering link. Okay, so the drive shafts I'm using are the Vanquish. Let me show you guys. Okay, Vanquish Incision drive shafts. Okay, so the wheelbase I'm running is 12.5 inches, and as you can see it's a bit loose here, but I have no problem with it. So I'm sorry about that, almost dropped my phone. And so 12.5 inch wheelbase. And then okay, we're gonna talk about the wheels later, because I'm gonna tell you about what did I mod to the wheels. Okay, and the electronics I'm using are from Castle Creation, the Copperhead 10 paired with the Three Brothers RC Yellow Jacket 2000 kV. The front I'm using is the G14, also from Three Brothers RC direct powered servo, and for the rear is the G11 direct powered servo also. And what else? Let me think. Okay, so before this I mounted those shocks to the front a little bit, but I have this setup right here. Okay, shock setup depends on different type of axles, I think, and wheelbase. So shocks really depends on what holes you guys plan to use, but this is my personal setup, as you guys can see, for the front and rear. I use the original shock oils that are included with the Traxxas big bore shocks, and I'm using the chassis spacers from Gspeed that is in 67 millimeters. So a lot have been asking me why is the skid plate is in 78 millimeters and the chassis spacers are in 67 millimeters. So from what I know that Gabe ever told us, they are meant to be shorter. It's to pinch the chassis front and rear, to make the chassis more rigid, and the skid plate is supposed to be 78 millimeters and the spacers are 67 millimeters. So they are normal, guys. So if you guys think why is it smaller, is it supposed to be like that, will it hurt the chassis? No, it won't, so don't worry about it. And we're gonna go to the mods to the wheels and the axles. Tires that I'm using are the Voodoo KLRs. These are the gold compounds, and the insides I'm using Crazy Crawler foams that are in 116 times 40 dimensions. So they are the perfect foams that I'm using on all my setup, even on my Gladiator, and I have the class 1 foams on the way. Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys can see this, but I actually grinded off the brass knuckles to clear the wheels, and because of the white Capra axles I needed to use a negative offset wheels, and these are the Boom Racing Crate wheels. They are the TE37s. Okay, so I changed the wheel hubs inside. If you guys know about these wheels, I changed the wheel hubs inside to the SL something similar to the SLW Vanquish hubs, but these are from China, and these are the China 1.9 bit lot hubs. I drilled the holes a little bit bigger for the screws to go in, and I'm using the most narrowest, that is the 6mm wheel hubs. And I actually, if you can see, I send the wheels to the machinist, and I asked them to help me mile down a little bit of the wheels to clear the potholes more. I think I miled out about 2 to 3 millimeters, but not a lot, because I saw the inner part that is not very thick also. And as you can see, actually the wheels grinded the knuckles a little bit, but I don't mind. With this wheel setup, I actually achieve about 10" of track width, and for my personal setup, I prefer the 10" width on my rig here. And for normal rigs, I think if you're using this wheel setup right here, I think you achieve about 9.5 inches for the normal XCX103 or the SCX102 axles. But for these wheels, I've already made it the narrowest, and this wheel set, the hubs, and using the thinnest hex, and the wheels sit pretty close here, if you guys can see. So but everything's been smoothly. Okay, so I need to figure out what is happening right here. And also the rear axles, also for the plastic hubs, you will also need to grind the plastic knuckles a little bit to clear the wheels. So that's about most of it about my rig. If you guys have any questions, do let me know in the comments. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the doorbell or the bell or something like that. Anything what you guys say. So I hope this video helps you guys with some of your Gspeed builds, because some of the guys have been asking me about this shocks. I've been using it for, I think, 2-3 times, 2-3 runs on the shocks. It actually feels pretty good. If you're saying compared to my Vanquish and Session shocks, I think the performance is almost the same, but I need to test these shocks more. I'm gonna give it a few more runs, a longer mileage, and maybe I'll let you guys know about my opinion. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys on the next video.